Hey everybody, it's June, and a new month means new shows and movies on all the various streaming platforms that you may or may not still be subscribed to. We decided to make a list of some of the most notable new things coming out this month, and then we thought, hey, what if we made a video about that list? Well, that's what this video is, so enjoy. June 8th is the premiere of the Netflix original movie Hustle, which stars Adam Sandler as a basketball scout. This looks like one of Adam Sandler's rare good movies. Not like a good Adam Sandler movie like Billy Madison or Happy Gilmore, but like a movie that is actually good and also has Adam Sandler in it. In any case, this looks less panic attack inducing than his last basketball movie, Uncut Gems, which sadly just left Netflix last month. On June 17th, check out the original movie Spiderhead from Joseph Kosinski, director of Tron Legacy and Top Gun Maverick. This is a potentially very weird sci-fi thriller based on a short story by George Saunders, who is a great writer who hasn't really had much of his work adapted. Hopefully that changes sometime soon. The screenplay from this one is from the Zombieland and Deadpool writers, so I have a good feeling about this one. Also, weirdly enough, the book that the short story appears in makes a cameo in the trailer, so that's kind of meta. If you're more in the mood for streaming weirdness in series form, The Umbrella Academy returns for Season 3, and it looks like the latest thing that's going to dip into multiverses and parallel dimensions. Also, there's been a lot of speculation about how the show would handle Elliot Page transitioning in real life, and apparently his character is transitioning too, which is cool and kind of meta. Meanwhile, in another dimension on a different streaming service based on an offbeat superhero book from a different comic book publisher, The Boys are back in town for the long-awaited Season 3 that premieres on June 3rd, and considering how hard Season 1 and 2 have gone, there's no reason to assume they're going to start pulling punches now. Honestly, I didn't realize how fond I'd gotten of the show, but it's going to be nice to see Huey and Butcher and the gang again. And really, if an overload of squeaky clean, wholesome superhero fare has left a bad taste in your mouth, this is a nice palate cleanser, like an ice-cold Fresca. Fresca. On June 10th, Fairfax returns for Season 2, and I somehow completely missed this one when it premiered last year. The name made me think it was some foofy old Downton Abbey-like, but it's basically the exact opposite. It's an animated comedy about middle schoolers trying to be trendy in the age of streetwear and social media, and when I watched the trailer, I could feel my cells decaying in real time. But you Zoomers have fun with this one. I've got my crossword puzzles and my Werther's Originals to keep me entertained. Speaking of young people and enjoying things and things that young people might enjoy, on June 17th, The Summer I Turned Pretty premieres, the Amazon original series based on a book by the author of the other book that inspired the hit Netflix original movie, To All the Boys I've Loved Before. The trailer kind of makes this look like Twilight without the vampires or werewolves, set in a more sexy and less depressing place than Forks, Washington. For the record, the summer that I turned pretty was 2007. Over on Disney Plus, Miss Marvel drops on June 8th, following the adventures of Kamala Khan, a teenage Marvel fangirl who happens to exist within the MCU. This looks fun and adorable, and honestly, it's kind of cool that the MCU has become a big enough universe that we can have a decent amount of tonal variety. Like, we just got a Doctor Strange movie full of demons and pretty brutal murder, and then we got a Moon Knight show that opened with Ethan Hawke putting broken glass inside his shoes, and now we get this, which looks, cute. These things can coexist, and honestly, it might make for some super weird crossovers down the road, like that time in the comics when the Power Pack tried to team up with the X-Men. God, I hope they put that in a movie. If cute, wholesome MCU stuff sounds dumb and you prefer murder and demons, well, great news, because Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness hits Disney Plus as a regular streaming thing, not one of those annoying elite premiere things where they make you pay $30 on top of your existing subscription service, so that's nice if you missed it when it was in theaters or just want to see some murder and demons. Also on Disney Plus, Obi-Wan. There's a name I've not heard since, I guess last month when Kenobi first premiered, and this month it's going to be reaching a conclusion with the season finale on June 22nd. If you can't wait till then to find out what happens next, you can jump ahead and watch the hit 1977 film Star Wars, which is also on Disney+. Over on Hulu, you can watch a space show that doesn't involve any wizards that I'm aware of, with The Orville: New Horizons premiering June 2nd. It's technically Season 3 of Seth MacFarlane's Star Trek Lampoon/Love Letter, but it's officially making the jump from network TV to streaming, and he's spoken in interviews about that allowing for a sort of soft reset, plus a bigger budget, which should make for some better special effects. The Love Simon Matic universe gets a little bit bigger with Season 3 of Love Victor starting on June 15th. It's unclear if this is going to be the final season, but you can only have a show about high schoolers go so long before those high schoolers have to graduate, unless they're screw-ups and have to repeat senior year. I'm allowed to say that because I repeated senior year. I didn't have enough PE credits because I hate exercising. On June 28th, the only murders in the building apparently weren't the only murders in the building, because there's a second season of The Only Murders in the Building, with Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez returning to solve some more mysteries, and it looks like this time they're going to be joined by Michael Rappaport and Cara Delevingne. On June 6th, Irma Vep premieres on HBO Max, which is a new original series that's a remake of the 1996 film about remaking a silent vampire film from like 100 years ago, but apparently a ring of thieves gets involved somehow. In any case, Alicia Vikander stars, and she's okay, I guess. On June 8th, the documentary The Janes drops, which is telling the story of the Jane Collective, a group of women who ran an underground network to provide abortions in the pre-Roe vs. Wade days, and jeepers creepers, I wish this weren't topical right now. Anyway, on June 26th, Westworld returns for Season 4, and you know, if you told me that this started out as a show about robot cowboys, I would not believe you, but based on the trailer, it looks like this is going to include some Tommy guns, and some mechs, and androids shooting flies out of their mouth like the guy in the Green Mile. Can the androids cure disease now? I don't know, I stopped watching at the end of Season 2. Apple TV Plus dropped Season 2 of Physical on June 3rd, with Rose Byrne continuing her aerobics adventures in the 1980s, and she's going to have some competition this time around with White Lotus's Murray Bartlett playing a rival fitness instructor who's clearly taking some cues from Richard Simmons. Is he going to crap in somebody's suitcase? I certainly hope so. If you prefer astronauts to aerobics, Season 3 of For All Mankind blasts off on the 10th, and this time around the sci-fi drama series is setting its sights on Mars. If that's too out there and you want something a little more grounded, there's also the original movie Cha-Cha Real Smooth on the 17th. The trailer for this one is one of those ones that just kind of lays out the entire plot of the movie and seems to show you basically every beat, but luckily, it's also one of those nuanced character studies that seems really hard to explain succinctly, so I guess they sort of cancel each other out. But yeah, it seems to be about a guy fresh out of college who gets a job as an MC for bar mitzvahs and then falls in love with a single mom who has a quirky daughter. Indie movies. On June 1st, Paramount Plus drops its third original South Park movie with The Streaming Wars, which will presumably address the overwhelming glut of content that I've been telling you about in classic Matt and Trey fashion. If you'd rather watch a spooky thing instead of a silly thing, well, Evil is back on the 12th for Season 3 with all sorts of exorcism-adjacent stuff and some demons and apparently some real sexual kissing. Meanwhile, on the 16th, there's Players, the mockumentary docuseries entering the world of esports, which is from Funny or Die and the folks behind American Vandal, so that's got some potential, especially if you're into esports or League of Legends. And that is your big pile of new streaming stuff that's on the way this month. There's a lot to pick from, and that is just the tip of the iceberg. We really only scratched the surface here, and other metaphors that mean we don't do a comprehensive job. If you would prefer a more comprehensive list about a more interactive medium, I also do one of these videos every month about all the video games that are coming out in that particular month, unless we forget some. So go watch that one if you feel like it, unless you hate video games, in which case you can do whatever you feel like for 12 minutes. With that, I will see you next month, unless, I don't know, you spot me in the checkout line at Target or something. If I'm buying something weird and embarrassing, it's for someone else as a prank